Morning, everybody. How are we all doing? Sam here, United People's TV. It's Monday. We've actually won a game of football this weekend after two, let's be honest, very disappointing defeats. Who were they against? I don't remember anymore. Brighton and West Ham, 2-1 nillers, but 2-0 against Wolves. It wasn't the most incredible performance overall, let's be completely honest. Plenty of shots, plenty of frustrations. Again, at Manchester United's lack of clinical finishing. But we're going to speak about Garnacho. We're going to speak about the game. We're going to speak about all the talking points around it. We're going to speak about Adrien Rabiot this morning. I didn't think that we'd be having a conversation around Rabiot again. We rewind to last summer when we were speaking about him and how weird it was that we were after him. Garnacho's, there's a comment down there. Stephen Berry saying Garnacho with the wrong hair. That's the original Garnacho. Garnacho now has obviously gone blonde, but of course he's on the mannequin after what was a fantastic goal. You know, there was a stat I saw this morning, which I thought was really, really good. 4 out of Garnacho's 5 goals for United this season have come after the 85th minute in games. He is scoring late. He got the winner against, was it the winner against West Ham in the FA Cup? I think it was the FA Cup. The winner against Fulham. Obviously, that late goal there at the weekend against Wolves. I love the kid. I'm going to be speaking about him this morning. There's lots and lots and lots to run through. Who's down here? Let's have a look. We've got Tom. How you doing, buddy? Another Thomas. We've got Stephen Berry. We've got Corey. Good morning to you. Matt Frost watching on Facebook. We've got William Ford, Lily, Ryan. We've got Saeed, Ruben, Jonathan. We've got Miss Teacup. We've got Bully, FP0119. There's a lot of syllables in your name. Paula. Josh, I'm sure you're here. I'm sure all the regulars here. T2. Good morning to everybody. One thing I want to say to start the show is commiserations to the women's team. Unfortunately, lost the FA Cup final to Chelsea 1-0 at Wembley. But if I'm correct, I think that was a record attendance in for a women's game, certainly at Wembley. And I hope that the women's team could. I mean, they're still on for the title in the Women's Super League this year. But I hope that with the arrival of new owners, that both the men's and the women's teams get the investment that they need. We'll speak about that. Well, we'll speak about the takeover in a little bit. I'll be completely honest. There's not a major update to bring to you. I'm seeing where are these reports of like a huge new Qatari bid coming from? Because I've got absolutely no idea where they're coming from. But to kick off the week and to kick off the show, we'll take a look at the table, and it looks good for Manchester United. All right. I'll be completely honest. If we manage to mess this up, us and Newcastle really. I had a mate over the weekend, Dan. He's a Newcastle fan, and I was like, "Are you getting nervous this week?" And obviously, Newcastle drawing 2-2 to Leeds, and they got no. Should be the answer. There is no way that Manchester United or Newcastle should be screwing this up from this point. Both United and Newcastle are 4 points ahead of Liverpool with 3 games remaining. All right. Which means we're going to have to lose a game and drop points in another game. So 2 out of the 3 games we have to mess up, whilst Liverpool go and win all 3. Now, fingers crossed, tonight, Leicester can do a number. Because Leicester, where are they? They're not relegated just yet. I think, is this their game in hand? This is their game in hand, presumably. If Leicester win tonight, it could be the difference between them staying up, and going down. So it's a huge game for them. They're at home. Let's hope for something there. And then we can just forget about it. But United are in prime position for getting the top 4. And we needed that win against Wolves. And I'm going to run through that. You've obviously seen my match reaction, but I like speaking to you as a community every morning about this. Luke, how you doing there, man? Luke's just gifted 5 memberships. I sound really weird. My ears haven't, for some reason, my ears have popped. Can't pop my ears. Luke. That gong sounds really odd. I can't pop my ears. I've no idea. Never happened to me before. Fidel, you're saying, I want us to finish above Newcastle. Let's be honest. It wouldn't really make a difference. There is no difference between 2nd and 4th. 2nd is the first loser. You either win the league or you don't. And Arsenal aren't winning the league. I wish I could enjoy it as much as I want to enjoy it, right? Genuinely. I wish that I could sit here and, I mean, I will take the piss out of Arsenal fans because look, all right, we go back to, let's rewind here. We're on game week 36 now. Let's rewind 7 games and look at the Premier League table at that point. Manchester United, we're still in 4th. Arsenal, they're top of the league, 8 points ahead of Man City. You fast forward 7 games, and they've lost an 8-point lead to being 4 points behind. And City have got a game in hand. I mean, people, I think people have been getting offended by Arsenal being called bottlers. I don't know the right way to describe it. But that is the definition. There's better ways of describing it than bottling. Arsenal bottling it is probably what you'd read on the back page of the Daily Star. But Arsenal have just, when the pressure cranks up a few notches, when there's less games left in the season and you realize you are in, that's why it's called the business end of the season. Because games and wins are so much more difficult at this point in the season. When everything matters, when everything is on the line, it matters. And I'll be honest, and this is why I can't enjoy it that much, right? Look, City are about to win their 3rd title in a row. City are about to win their 5th league in 6 years, whilst at the same time sitting there faced with what was it, 130 different FFP charges by the Premier League. The Premier League has gone after the team that's won it 5 out of 6 years. Let me see what you're saying in the comments about this in Arsenal, about this whole situation. Robert Talley, you're saying it's inexperience trying to win things. Quite a few of you. T, you're saying it. Wayne, you're saying it. It's choking. It is choking. Pressure is an incredible thing. Sometimes pressure can be a positive thing if you know, and that's where it comes to experience. Somebody who hasn't experienced pressure before can sometimes be like, it makes you do different things and it makes you act differently because you're under pressure. You're under pressure. Shit. But sometimes when the experience, you know what that pressure is, instead of you being worried about it, you welcome it on board because that pressure is what drives you to that top level. And Man City, it's disgusting how good they are in this situation. Unless they're in the Champions League, fingers crossed, Real Madrid, please do the thing. Yeah, that's. I wish I could just revel in the fact that Arsenal have ballsed it all up, but I can't really because it's City winning it. And there is no Arsenal fan now that can argue that their season is more successful than Manchester United's. We've won the League Cup. We're in the FA Cup final. We're in the top 4. That's what I mean. There is no difference between 2nd and 4th. Bully down there, you're saying, Sam, can we take a minute for what we are doing this year compared to last year? Mate, was it? Where were we? Let's have a look here. Everyone's in a good mood after Wolves. I really want to do this. Well, I'm going to anyway. Let's take a look at where we were at the exact same point last season. So where are we now? We're sitting there in 4th with 66 points. And at the exact same point last season, we were sitting there. Oh, that's 38. Go back to game week 36. So we had 66 points. We've got 66 points now. So we were... No, that's after it. That's the wrong one as well. We played an extra game there. This is more difficult. No, still only got 2 games left. Oh, my God. This stupid season with the World Cup. Screwing everything. So after 35 games played last year, we were 11 points worse off. And we were in 6th. We had pretty much no chance of getting into the top 4, apart from an absolute collapse from Arsenal. That didn't happen. Oh. We don't need to talk about last season. Let's just focus on this season. And as I said, from where we are now, with 3 games to go, with a 4-point buffer, the job should be done. And Manchester United have got the job done against Wolves at the weekend. I'm going to speak about that. First of all, I want to speak about this. Honestly, if you were to go into an AI generator and you were to type in, like, I don't know, maybe not a Batman villain. It's got strong Dr. Robotnik vibes about him. But he looks like an AI-generated villain. I don't know whether he's got... I don't know whether he's got somebody who helps him look like a villain, but it almost seems like he actively chooses to look like a villain. I don't know. Maybe it's just that billionaire vibe. That pale billionaire vibe who lives in Florida. That never... always confuses me, that. Really confuses me. Glazer, Adrien Glazer was at the Women's FA Cup final at the weekend. He was at Wembley. Second time he's been there this season. And if ever there was a video to sum up the takeover of Manchester United, I would say it's this, right? This was him getting questioned about the takeover.
How long to sell going to take?
Pure, just completely ignores it. One more time.
How long to sell going to take?
Doesn't even acknowledge that the question existed. That's the situation that we're at. We had an extra live show on Monday, right? Monday? On Saturday. Today is Monday. We had an extra live show on Saturday where I ran through the breaking news that developed over the weekend from the Times that Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos are leading the race. Mike Keegan's suggesting that a Qatari bid is going to come in. Let's find out what goes on there. But the Glazers are doing what the Glazers do. They ignore fans. They ignore what everybody is saying. They ignore everything apart from their own self-interests. There are no updates to bring you in terms of the actual sale itself. There is no 6 billion bid by Qatar. Could that happen this week? Let's find out. I spoke about it. I say we spoke about it. It got a bit heated. Let's be honest. It got a bit heated with the conversation on Saturday. I think my natural disposition in life is to try and find the positives in situations. I could just be furious, spewing at the mouth about the idea of Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos taking over. But if that is going to happen, I'm going to try and find the best angle possible, not being naive and blind to the problems. And that's what I spoke about in detail on Saturday. And I'm not having that conversation again today. We'll have that conversation again in time. But there isn't an update. Atish, you're saying down there, can you bring Ben Jacobs back on? Hey, maybe that could be a conversation we could have today, but I don't think that's going to be something that helps you. I think it'll be a conversation that probably frustrates you a little bit more because there won't be a big update to bring you. And I told you so many times, I don't want to sort of feed the hysteria. If there's conversations to be had, we'll have them. But we shouldn't have the conversation for the sake of it. Nick Fegan down there is saying you literally begged for Jim Ratcliffe. I love that. Love that. Because I think I said it last week. I think literally is the most misused word by everybody. You literally saw me outside on the floor begging with a sign for Jim Ratcliffe. Please, Jim. Please. No, you didn't. I promise you didn't. Jim Ratcliffe, I called him the Disney owner. You know I did. People have already used that word against me. Have things changed? Yes, they have. It's almost like your opinion on things. Oh, I don't know. I'm just this is a really weird concept, people. But it's almost like when more evidence presents itself to you with anything in life that you might be able to change your opinion. I'm not sure. I know it's a crazy idea. Like, don't take it from me. But maybe you might be able to critically analyze things and go, you know what? What I thought previously might not have been the right thing. It's a wild idea. I might even do a whole video on it. Anyway, I'm going to go back outside now. I'm going to literally start begging again. All right. Anyway, look, well, I've got a smile on my face because I've got this dude's picture on my screen. Alejandro Garnacho. the game against Wolves was like so many games this season. So many. Certainly these last like 4, 5, 6 consecutive games of just please get a shot on target. I think that's the thing that annoyed me the most against the Wolves. It wasn't just the lack of clinical finishing. I suppose they're kind of tied in, aren't they? But we just couldn't hit the bloody target. We weren't working the goalkeeper. It was so frustrating. Anthony had a couple of good chances. Of course, that changed in the second half. I think Bentley, Wolves goalkeeper, was probably man of the match. Made a really smart save from Sancho, a really smart save from Garnacho. And something that someone actually mentioned to me before, I'll mention this now because it's quickly in my head. Right? With Anthony, it was mentioned, I think he did it twice in that game. He reversed his shot. So you know what Anthony typically does? Anthony will open his body up and he'll go for the other corner. He'll go with his left foot and he'll try and bend it into the corner. That is the typical crazy. Sorry, I just got distracted by somebody down there. What was he saying there? Let's have a look. Sorry. I like calling people out sometimes. That's a crazy idea, Sam. You dig in, ignoring opposing facts and shout louder than everyone else while calling them names to destroy their credibility. I don't know whether that's a positive thing. I think you're trying to slag me off there, Connor. But no, I don't ignore any facts. I like to think I'm pretty balanced on here. And I just like calling people out sometimes. Josh, you're saying it was Bentley's debut. It was Bentley's debut. But Anthony, yeah, he reversed his shot. So instead of going to the opposite corner, Anthony went into the keeper's, the near post for the keeper. Not the near post, technically, but the post nearest to the keeper, which is something that he hadn't done. And it's another sign of development from Anthony. I'll speak about him a little bit later. But speaking about development, how good is this dude? Honestly, how good is he? Garnacho came, that was his first appearance back after injury. Just signed his new 5-year contract, and he goes and does that. And that photo there, brilliant. I said it at the time, it was the perfect time for Manchester United to win the FA Youth Cup. It was, wasn't it? We've got Kobbie Mainoo, who hopefully will be coming through next season. I'm hoping that Mainoo can have, you know how Garnacho's had his breakthrough campaign this season, right? I'm hoping that Mainoo can be that player next season. Can we therefore not sign a midfielder and depend on him to come through? No, you can't. That's not fair on him to put that sort of pressure on a teenager. It's wrong. We should be investing heavily in that position and having Mainoo coming through. But Garnacho this season, it's just certain youngsters that come through, certain players that come through at a younger age. Exactly what I was speaking about there with Arsenal, right? At this point in the season, Arsenal have got that pressure and the expectation. They're top of the table. Things change when you're top of the table, and the pressures change completely. Oh, I'll speak about that in a little bit. Garnacho has used that pressure of breaking into the Manchester United first team and used it as fuel for development. He thrives in the spotlight. And that's the way I've described it earlier. Sometimes, if, I don't know, you might not like it, I might not like it. Being on stage and a big spotlight goes straight on you. Kind of technically what is my job every day. But Garnacho loves that environment. He really, really loves that environment, and he loves doing it, and he wants more of it. His development this season has been just so good. And how good can he be? You let me know what you think in the comments below. I think somebody's down. Oh, man, look at that. Chaos. Chaos? Cows? K-A-O-Z. It's definitely not cows. I'm going to go chaos. Pretty cool. That's a wicked name. Dude, thank you so much, man. The gong's been spanked. Gongshi, indeed. Thank you so much, dude. Absolute legend. Let me see what you're saying down here about Garnacho. Chris, you're saying Garnacho can handle the pressure. Gamer Beans, you're saying Garnacho's already further along in his development than Ronaldo. Hey, I will always say this. Garnacho's not the new Ronaldo, people. Kobbie Mainoo's not the new Casemiro. Kobe Mainu is Kobe Mainu. Garnacho is Garnacho. I always find it not unfair. It's a little bit lazy. And it's a little bit unfair, actually, I probably would say. Comparing any breakthrough player to someone else. Just let them craft their own path. And Garnacho, the path that he is crafting, I think we're heading towards this. I'm going to leave this as the poll for today because this is a pretty cool poll. Should Garnacho be our next number 7, right? Next number 7. Yes or no? Simple question. My voice went really high there. I've told you already quite a few times. We've had this discussion, haven't we? I don't really, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but I just don't care about the number 7 shirt as much as I used to. It used to mean so much to me because I grew up with David Beckham, Cantona, then David Beckham. And it's just like the number 7 shirt was just synonymous with the icons that I grew up with. Obviously, Ronaldo took it and made it magnificent. But then Michael Owen took it. Memphis Depay took it. Angel Di Maria took it. Valencia took it, said sod this, gave it back. Ronaldo came back and taken it. It doesn't mean much. But as soon as the right player, and I guarantee this happens. And as soon as the right player takes that number 7 shirt and becomes an icon in it again, all those memories will flood back to me. And all of a sudden, the number 7 shirt will mean something to me again. At this moment in time, but I don't really think it means that much. That's just me personally. Now, you might disagree with that. Cavani had it too. Jeez, forgot about that. Cavani, that just didn't quite work out. John, you're saying he's not ready for it yet, but in a season or two, I mean, Garnacho just looks ready. Garnacho looks ready, man. I spoke about Jadon Sancho at the weekend. I almost feel like I need to do another video on this, but Sancho has to be concerned at the very, very least. Because the way that this team is now starting to, you can envisage it next year. You can see on that right wing, you've got Anthony, you've got Amad Diallo there, and I'll speak about Amad in a little bit. On that left wing, you've got Marcus Rashford, and you've got Garnacho. Sancho he's like, where do I fit? We thought that maybe he could go into that number 10 role. Don't really think that's going to be going there. Alex, you're saying would prefer Garnacho to take a number 11. Helgon, you're saying Garnacho can rise to it. Sanchez had it. Oh my God, did Sanchez have a number 7? Oh, that's what I mean about number 7 shirt. That's exactly what I mean. Johnny, you're saying, can we add not yet to the list? Because that would be my pick. Or you're saying it's just a number. Give him the number he wants. If it's number 7, give it to him. But it is only a number. Dylan G, you're saying it's clear Ten Hag likes and sees more in Garnacho than Pellistri. Well, yeah. I mean, that much is obvious. Pellistri is a really weird one, isn't it? Even with any struggles we've had, he's still hardly got a sniff. And he's always impressed when he came on. So this mustn't be doing something right. Chaos, thank you very much for the super chat, dude. What are you saying? I think we should retire the number 7 shirt so that we won't have the pressure of previous players who wore it. Love you, dude, but that's a terrible idea. Hell no. Get that the pressure at Manchester United. If you were to retire things that created pressure at Manchester United, you have to fold our club. It's the beauty of Manchester United. There is so much pressure everywhere. That's why so many players fail. Hydra, you're saying that moment on Saturday was huge. He basked in the glory. Great sentence, that. Basked in the glory. I love him. Ten Hag loves him. And I cannot wait to see how good he's going to be next season. Because I think you're looking at Manchester United's team now. I would probably say Garnacho looks far closer to being our starting left winger next season than Sancho does. Rashford, you're probably going to have Rashford down there. That's going to be a little bit of an issue. What do you see as Manchester United? Well, I suppose we can't know that until we sign the striker that we're going to get. Harry Kane or Victor Osimhen. I don't know whether that really changes the conversation. Do you think next season, maybe this kind of requires a video? Well, we'll be doing all this. We'll be doing all this stuff. I can't wait to. I've spoken about this so many times. I can't wait until we can bury the conversation about Ineos or the Qataris. Ineos or the Qataris. Did it, and the arguments, debates, and blah, 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 blah. I'm bored of it. I want there to be a decision. And for us to then be able to properly scrutinize that decision. We can focus on one and look at all the ends. We can deep dive into it. And then that's an interesting conversation further down the line. But I want to start doing stuff about United's starting 11 next season, how we're shaping up, because there's so much excitement. And he is a big part of it, man. Such a good player. And there'll be a video that goes out on TikTok just after this. So if you would, make sure you follow us on TikTok. I do try my hardest with content. All different types of content. There's quite a lot of it. That's why it's made the best community in the world. Ryden, how you doing, buddy? Thank you very much for Super Chat. No doubt Garnacho has raw talent, but coming on in the 60th minute when defenders are tired would make any winger look good. If you're looking at the game against West Ham at Old Trafford, if I remember correctly, that was the game beforehand where Ten Hag said Garnacho, he's been good as a substitute, but he has to start affecting games from the start. And he started. And he scored the 90th minute winner. Was it a winner? I think it was a winner. Garnacho has impacted games from the start. Hasn't really had that many opportunities from the start. Too many opportunities. And of course, yeah, it is easier in that sense to bring a youngster on towards the end when the legs are a little bit tired. But if you're going to try and take something away from Garnacho for doing that, I mean, come on, mate. It's just a breakthrough season. It's all about development. This is exactly what happened with Ronaldo when he was it Bolton he scored against that free kick on his debut. Ronaldo debut goal for United. Bolton or Fulham. Pretty sure they were white. Who is it? Portsmouth? Oh, was it Portsmouth? Swing and a miss. Nah. Jibak, you sent us a super chat as well. Thank you very much, dude. Saying, why do we need Garnacho to buckle under the pressure of a cosmetic thing like a shirt number? We'll keep him away from number 7 and let him focus on his game. Does he not strike you as somebody who wants that pressure? Would be my question there. I think probably the best comment I've read this morning, probably the first time I'm ever going to say this, is coming from Orr. I'm joking, man. I love you, really. If Garnacho wants that number 7 shirt, here you go, mate. Shirt is yours. If he wants number 78, he gets number 78. Garnacho gets the shirt number. If there's a shirt number available and he wants it, there you go, man. That's yours. And if he wants that number 7, I think he can take it. That's what I mean about that. That's what stands out to me about Garnacho is he's thriving in the pressure situations. He's not cowering away from them. He's not passing the ball to somebody else. He's somebody who's taking responsibility. He's somebody who's just getting better and better. And as I think I've always maintained this, there is nothing more exciting. I don't think so anyway. Like you can sign Harry Kane for 100 million. We could go and sign Frankie de Jong for 75 million. And it's brilliant. Like Van Persie, like being able to watch an elite level footballer come into your team and be elite is amazing. It's a privilege. But there is no bigger privilege, I think, than watching a young talent develop into a superstar. And we as Manchester United fans have been spoiled by that. Not necessarily just young players, but just raw, talented players who have potential. And you go, yeah, man, you got it spot on. Vidic, Rooney, Evra, Ronaldo. I mean, the list could go on and on and on. Carrick, you could say he was good enough. He was good at Spurs anyway, but he went levels. That's the way it should be done at United. As much as I enjoy signing elite level, top class players that come straight into your team, nothing's better. And it's certainly when it comes to a youngster as well. That's why I think so anyway. Debbie saying Garnacho is naturally number 49. Why change his number? Might bring him bad luck. He might do that. He might just stick with 49 his whole career and create a new legacy around number 49. Who knows? Let me see what the poll's saying. Do you think that Garnacho should be getting the number 7 shirt? Let's have a look. We've got 723 votes. We've got over 700 votes and only 250 of you like the video. If there are 500 of you right this second, can you please drop a like on the video? Because honestly, it always makes me scratch my head. I look at how many likes the videos have compared to, I don't know, other United videos. I'm like, does nobody like the content? But I think you do. So all you got to do is just drop a like on it. It does make the world of difference simply by you just going boop down there. Jibak, I think, let me see there. Johnny B. Goodness, how you doing, buddy? Thank you very much for Super Chat. You're saying, I'm never awake for the live. Don't let me shout at you. You're not wrong. Lots of love. Johnny B. Good. Always reminds me of Back to the Future, that. The poll's a bit, I think lots of you are saying, Sam, why didn't you add the third option of just not yet? But 64% of you are saying yes. 36% are saying no. My opinion is if he wants it, give it to him. That's completely his choice. I think so anyway. But at some point, I think we're probably going to be seeing that. I think we'll see that. And I will very much look forward to it. But let's quickly speak about the game in itself. I say quickly speak about the game. It's half an hour into the show. That's what I mean. When you've got positive things to talk about, everyone likes joining in. I'm not like United People's TV is not like Arsenal Fan TV. If we play crap, nobody really wants to listen to what I've got to say. Nobody really, because I don't massively overreact. I'm a little bit boring in that sense. I won't go crazy. Last year, I'm not going back last year and watching some of my match reactions. That would be a depressing day. But Martial getting the goal, Anthony getting the assist. I really, really enjoy watching Anthony. I really think he's developing and continuing to develop. Is he the finished product? No. No. He's nowhere near the finished product. However, there is so much raw potential there that the ceiling is very, very high with Anthony. And I think he has shown quite a few signs of real development this season. I'm trying to think of what. When he first came in, he wasn't tracking back at all. He's still not really going on the outside of players. That has to improve. But just decision makings and little small things with Anthony that make me think, you know what? With more coaching, with more development and better players around him, Anthony is just going to keep going up and up and up. And people are like, oh, 80 million, so over. It was overpriced. Sure, I won't disagree with that. But Anthony on that right wing with Ahmad, right? Let's speak about this lad here. I haven't even spoken about Rabiot yet, and it's the start of this. It's the headline of the show. The Rabiot conversation is coming just after this. I promise you about that. But Ahmad, did you see that goal at the weekend? Free kick rolled out to him, just the Anthony finish. From the, what was it? From like 20 yards out, left foot curler right into the top corner. A worldie of a finish. And Ahmad has had such an incredible loan spell at Sunderland. It's probably one of the best loan spells I remember. What are the really successful loan spells do you remember? James Garner was very good at Nottingham Forest. That didn't really work out and, lead to much. Axel Tuanzebe, he went to Aston Villa, won the league as well in the Championship. Ahmad may well win the Championship with Sunderland this year. I hope it's either Ahmad with Sunderland or Michael Carrick with Middlesbrough. Could be one of those two. But Erik Ten Hag has made it clear that Ahmad's future is at Manchester United. And that's what I mean about getting excited for next season. Because if you look at our options, on that left wing, you've got Rashford and Garnacho. And you're like, hell yeah. That's two ridiculously good options on that left wing. You're looking at the right wing and you're going Anthony and Ahmad. And you go, hell yeah. There's a lot of excitement. Ahmad is somebody who's far more comfortable playing centrally than Anthony is. You know, he's played in the kind of number 10 role for Sunderland. I mean, he technically starting out as a right winger, but he's dropped inside quite a lot, playing centrally. Really, really. Beckham at Preston, that's a one to... Was it a successful loan at Preston? I know he went on loan to Preston, but geez, my memory's not that good. Rudy, you're asking about Sabitzer. I asked question marks about. I've already done like a keep or sell, and I said that we should be keeping Sabitzer. But again, a bit like my opinion on Jim Ratcliffe being a Disney owner, it now changes because things have happened with more context now, more games. I'm starting to question whether 20 million would be the smartest investment. That's what I would say, the smartest. I wouldn't say it would be a bad investment, signing Sabitzer. I don't know whether it would be the smartest investment. And that would be my question there. But look, what else are you saying? Lingard at West Ham was a good loan spell. Cleverly at Watford. Jeez, got some good memories down here. Diallo to Milan. That's a very, very good one. That was a really good loan spell. What else are you saying down here? Right. Welbeck to Sunderland. Some good ones here. Right. Let's go to the main headline of the show. Okay. Because Erik ten Hag was speaking about signings. I think was this before the game or after the game? I think it was before the game. He was talking about his plans for next season. He's aiming for high standards. He's planning for next season in the background. It's up to the others to decide if the finances are there. And he also said, look, he's developing the team. He's planning for the future. And will that future include Adrien Rabiot? Because we are seeing, well, look, this one here. I'll speak about that in a little bit, actually. Because Adrien Rabiot was a player that Manchester United were looking at last summer. And this is bringing up some PTSD about covering last summer transfer window with all of you. Because that was crazy. Last summer was just crazy. And when the Adrien Rabiot conversations first came around, I thought they absolutely stank. They reeked of the Glazers signing. We were looking at Frankie de Jong all summer long, knocking on the door for Frankie. Do you want to join? Not really. No. A week later. Do you want to join? No, not really. Do you want to join now? No. We were left high and dry, and then we looked at Adrien Rabiot. I remember Fabrizio Romano and Jacob Steinberg from The Guardian at the time saying that we agreed a deal worth 15 million euros to bring him in. And you know full well why we didn't sign him. Because Mammy said no. Veronique Rabiot, she was the chief negotiator on behalf of Adrien, and we couldn't agree on wages. That's the only reason we didn't sign Adrien Rabiot last summer. However, Fabrizio Romano is saying that we are still interested in signing him, and there was quite a confident report, I think I would call it, from L'Equipe in France saying this. Let's run through this together, and that is an absolutely horrendous advert. Manchester United are pushing. Let's go full screen in this one. Don't in my face. Manchester United are pushing to sign Juventus midfielder Adrien Rabiot, according to a report this afternoon in L'Equipe. The World Cup winner, what is going on here, will be a free agent next June, as his 4-year contract with Juve will come to an end. They're saying that Ten Hag has made signing Rabiot an important objective, as well as signing Harry Kane. What is your opinion on this, right? Pros. The pros are easy, right? He's a free transfer. Is he a quality player? I mean, he is a good player. Is he the level that we need to change our midfield? Questionable. But if we're talking about Sabitzer being a good player and a good signing, you could probably put Adrien Rabiot in the same category as Marcel Sabitzer as a player, right? This isn't a conversation about who's our big money midfield signing. This is like a squad play here. But if we're looking at the cons, that's a weird thing, because as much him being a free transfer is a pro and a con, right? Pro thing, he's free. Bad thing is, because he's a free transfer, he can demand more wages. He can demand a signing on bonus. And we all know that the wages were the biggest issue last time. So I imagine those conversations they're not going to go away. I imagine they're going to be the exact same thing. But if you're talking about, as I said, if we're talking about Sabitzer and paying 20 million euros for him, now Rabiot and Sabitzer are different types of players, all right? I'm not saying they're the same player. We take a look here at his heat map for Juventus this season in Serie A, and you can see where he plays and operates. He operates as an advanced midfielder on the left because Juve, this is the formation that they typically play, 3-5-2. Well, 3-5-1-1 if you want to be specific there. But you can see where he's been playing here. So he's playing in like sort of a... So if you were to imagine that at Manchester United, we've got Chiesa further forward, Cuadrado further forward, Paul Pogba dropping into a back four. You could see him being one of the three central midfielders. Casemiro just behind him, Rabiot slightly further in front. I don't know. But this for me is an interesting one. And I suppose a question I could ask you now, actually, type your name in the comments. If Manchester United were to sign a free transfer this summer, out of one of these two, which one would you want? Would you want Youri Tielemans or Adrien Rabiot? I think that's a genuine question to ask. They can't be that far away from in terms of the age as well. Maybe Youri Tielemans is slightly younger. A couple of years younger. Tielemans is 26. And I think Adrien Rabiot is 20, 29? 28? 28. He's 28. But yeah, I'm going to go down here actually and see what you're saying. As to whether you would prefer Tielemans or Rabiot. I think that's a good question. Lots and lots and lots of you. I wish you could see how many comments firing at this point. It always makes me smile. So many of you commented. Let's have a look. Let's pull some names up in here. We've got Tielemans, Rabiot, Tielemans, Rabiot. I reckon this would be quite a close poll, actually. Maybe not. Maybe like 60-40. Tielemans. Both says Caesar. No, let's not go crazy. Let's not go crazy. It's not about... That's what I mean. It's not about just slamming the squad full of players just for the sake of it. All right? We need squad depth. Yes. And I think this summer, Manchester United, we're going to have opportunities in this market. Free opportunities. Smart signings. For me, Marcus Thuram seems like an obvious choice. Although he kind of plays out on the left. So maybe that wouldn't be the most obvious choice, considering we've got Rashford, we've got Garnacho, and we've got Sancho there. So maybe not. But we will not have the biggest of budgets this summer. Right, there's a question there. Look, perfect question. Right? Lavella there saying this. Right, let's pull this, that one up there. McAllister and De Jong are both better in both in the 8th position. Yeah, they are, dude. And there won't be an individual that's arguing otherwise. That's Roberto De Zerbi. By the way, how good were Brighton against Arsenal? How good have Brighton been this season? Really, overall. Definitely the biggest surprise of the season. It's credit to his coaching and just credit to those players. But that Brighton team is definitely going to have a few exits this summer. Caicedo and McAllister are two, probably the most likely ones. McAllister to Liverpool and Caicedo to, don't know. Would I prefer Caicedo or Rabiot? That's a rhetorical question. Would I prefer McAllister to Rabiot? That's a rhetorical question. The question is around, do you think that A, Rabiot would be a good free signing, and B, whether you think he would be a smart and the smartest signing? Because if there's more than one, and there are, Rabiot and Tielemans are two right there. I would say quite similar midfielders. Not extremely similar. I think Rabiot's... I think that there's quite a lot of profiles and characteristics that are quite similar between those two. Dahoud going to Brighton. Is that a free transfer from Dortmund? I think that is. They've already signed, is it João Pedro from Watford? I think they've got Milner coming in on a free as well. Brighton, they are doing their business early doors. But as much as I think last summer, the transfer I was most against last summer was Arnautovic. Like as soon as the Arnautovic story came out, all United fans rightfully kicked off an absolute stink. And then United, honestly, it felt like United went, oh, crap. They did not expect that sort of reaction from the fan base. And then within like 48 hours, all interest was stopped. So either that was a complete coincidence or the United fans made the club realised, hold on, this would be a bad shout. A few of you down there asking me to compare stats. Let me see if I can. This wasn't working earlier. Nah, still not working. I can't compare the stats. I was going to compare Rabiot and Tielemans. I think this is going to be an interesting one to follow and develop. I was totally against the idea of a Rabiot transfer last summer. And I'd say there are still the red flags that existed last summer still exist. The demands that he would have, the attitude that he would have, right? Because we know Ten Hag is not somebody who takes any bullshit, right? Levrai, you're saying what's stopping Veronique demanding more again? Absolutely nothing is stopping her demanding more again. That's part of the issue. And as I said, because it's a free transfer, you can demand even more. The wages he was asking for last summer, you can add a little bit more on top because you know that the club doesn't have to pay 15 million euros to get him anymore. Let's find out how this one develops. But according to L'Equipe, Erik Ten Hag wants him. Erik Ten Hag is interested in signing him. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that today for my video. I'll take a look at all the free transfers and I'll say, right, these are the ones that we definitely should be at least considering, if not just completely going after. Sam Chang, you're saying Sabitzer over Rabiot, please. Sabitzer, he's missed, what is it, a couple of games with injuries? I don't know how many games he's actually missed with injuries this year. But I think the debate there, if we're going to have a debate around that, should be Rabiot or Tielemans. If you're going to sign one on a free transfer, which one would you go for? I think that's probably the best question. Isco, man. How old's Isco? 31. It's actually younger than I thought he was going to be. But we're not talking about Isco, are we? I don't think that's a real thing. Paul, you're saying this is setting standards low. You're not going to catch City with signings like that. I'm not calling you out. I'm kind of calling you out, Paul. Like, in an ideal world, Manchester United would have £300 million to spend this summer on 5 key signings, and it will be straight through. That is not the case. We have a finite amount of budget. Therefore, there might be some stopgaps. Is Weghorst a Manchester United quality player in the long term? Nope. Did Weghorst come in and do a decent enough job that will make me think that it was a success, that I'm happy that we brought him in? Yes. I think Weghorst did a job. And if we didn't have Weghorst for those 13, 14, I know he started like 16 games in a row, I think. If we didn't have Weghorst at that point, we didn't do what we did do at that point. I don't think. We wouldn't have had that run. We probably would have won the League Cup against Newcastle. I don't think he made that much of an impact in that game. But sometimes stopgap signings, and that's what, in my opinion, an Adrien Rabiot or a Youri Tielemans would be. Any signing, actually, no, that's a lie. Not any signing who's a free transfer is a stopgap. Christian Eriksen, we showed it last year. You can make smart free signings that definitely improve your squad. Now, would Rabiot have the same sort of impact that Eriksen did? No. Would Tielemans have? No, I don't think either of them would have as much impact on this United team as Eriksen did. That's kind of a rare gem, I think, someone like Eriksen. But there are players available for free. And if we're looking at options inside this squad, we need more options. We need more experienced options. Kobbie Mainoo will be making... I think we can expect Kobbie Mainoo to make pretty much as many appearances next season as Garnacho did this season. And you're saying, look at it this way, Tielemans is a discussion despite being in a relegation threat in Leicester. How much could he do? I've always admired Tielemans. I think Tielemans would be... I'd have a lot less red flags when speaking about Tielemans compared to if I was speaking about Rabiot. Might be because I'm more aware of Tielemans. I've watched more of Tielemans. Therefore, I could probably mold an opinion and an argument far more about Tielemans than I could about Rabiot. Doesn't mean that Rabiot is a worse player. Just probably means that I know a little bit less about him. Neil, you're saying stopgap signings stifle youth. Well, I think I told you about it last week, the week before, when I said I wrote an article saying that signing Harry Kane would stunt James Wilson's growth. And it is the single worst take I've had some pretty bad takes. I'll be honest. Quite a few, actually. That one, hands down the worst take I've ever had in my entire life. That was ridiculous. Or you're saying you take Rabiot over Tielemans. Seb, you're saying Rabiot would be a smart signing. Left-footed, good ball carrier. And I'll tell you what, Seb, maybe that's something you have to take into question. The fact that he is left-footed, the fact that he would play on the left. And we all know full well that that's quite important for Erik ten Hag. You saw it with Martinez. You've seen it with Luke Shaw. He wants a left-footed player playing at left centre-back. Not necessarily he wants a left-footed midfielder playing as left central midfield. I don't think that's necessarily the case. But it's an interesting conversation. Ben, you're saying Tielemans would be less of a problem. Hey, we'll do a video. That doesn't deserve a video unto itself. Maybe it can be a video that we do in a short form. And that's why I'd like you to follow us on TikTok and Instagram, because there are videos that exist on there that don't exist on YouTube or anywhere else, because it's not a video that warrants and requires a full YouTube video, but it's Tielemans or Rabiot on a free, I think is a genuinely interesting question to pose to United fans. So maybe we'll do that as tomorrow's short video. Lots of you mentioning Ward-Prowse in the comments. You know full well the player that I like. I would like to sign Romeo Lavia, the 19-year-old midfielder. I think that would be that would be an opportunistic signing. Southampton just getting relegated. Swoop in there, United, because if we don't, someone is signing Romeo Lavia this summer. All right, guarantee that. Guarantee. Will that be United? I don't know, but I think that would be if you're looking at an understudy to Casemiro, that is your dude. Kobe Mainu, I would say, is more. I wouldn't say he's an understudy to Eriksen. He's really an all-round midfielder, but Lavia could be an absolutely fantastic signing, opportunistic signing in that position. Let's find out. Somebody mentioned Frenkie de Jong's name there. I'm going to read that out. Have we finally stopped embarrassing ourselves after Frenkie de Jong? What do you mean embarrassing ourselves? What, trying to sign Frenkie de Jong? I don't really know. But look, Rabiot, according to L'Equipe, Man United are back in for him. Last summer, I would have just put that down as a blunt no, because signing Rabiot would have been the main midfield signing that we made last summer. And in that situation, it would have been a horrendous signing. But Rabiot on a free? I don't know. Let's find out. Alex, sometimes the short videos do go out on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook Reels, and Instagram Reels. Normally, sometimes they don't go on all of them. But yeah, follow us where you want to follow us. There's lots of content we do. There's more than just the live shows here. That's what I would say. So look, if you haven't already subscribed to United People's TV, it's only taken me 53 minutes to say this. I'm so crap at this. Please do subscribe to the channel. Last couple of minutes of the show, you can ask me whatever you want. Can be about Rabiot, can be about Tielemans, can be about anything else. This week, we, of course, have got another week without a midweek game. It's not as nice, really. As much as you complain about it, as soon as you have a week where United don't play, you're like, where is it? Where are we? You need your fix. He gave us the fix at the weekend. But he's on the wall there. Big up Stan Chow. And big up the mannequin man for making those masks. I'm going to have to spray his hair yellow, though. See what you're saying down here. Tea or coffee, James? This might make everyone hate me. I don't drink hot drinks. Just don't like them. If I was going to, I'd have tea with milk and no sugar. But only if I'm like cold AF and it's winter and I just need to warm up. That's the only time I would have tea. It's like people are like, oh yeah, on a nice hot summer's day, you have a cup of tea and you cool down. I'm like, I know the science behind it, but sod that. Give me a nice cold, ice cold can of Coke. Jordan, are you left or right-footed? Left-footed, right-handed. I'm always weird. Dan saying, if you had money, 3 players, who would they be? I'm still torn on Kane or Osimhen. I really am. Osimhen, No, both of them would be incredible signings. I genuinely can't decide. I really, really can't. In terms of midfielders, I don't actually know which midfielder Ten Hag wants the most. Is it that deep lying progressive midfielder? Because if it was, Frankie de Jong is the gold standard, the absolute gold standard. I'd love to sign Caicedo. I think that's one midfielder I would just, out of nowhere, if United went after Caicedo this summer, I would be really, really happy. I think he's absolutely incredible. And the fact that he played right back against us and did it so well was also like another string to his bow. Like that versatility, but with quality as well. Not just, yeah, I'll do a job there. He actually played right back really quite well. John is saying no hot chocolate. Yeah, well, maybe if you're going to have a cold one, I might have that as well. Gungshi, I've only just seen down there. You've gifted 5 memberships. The man that the gong was named after. Hero. Who do you think is more likely to leave on loan or permanent? Pellistri or Sancho, says Alex. That's a really good question. Honestly, I think Erik Ten Hag will be considering Jadon Sancho's future at the club. Considering FC, whatever you want to call it. Because if you're looking at players who have got players who United could get money for this summer, Jadon Sancho is probably the most saleable asset. I know using Glazer terms here, but I really think Man United, we're not going to put him on the, we're not going to boot him out of the club and say, oh, Jadon Sancho's gone. But if you're looking at players that you could get money for, you could get really good bit of money for Sancho that you could reinvest into a position in the squad where you're weaker. Because Sancho, unfortunately for him, he's just not done enough. Since he came back from that 3-month mid-season break, Sancho needed to light the season up. Instead, the same questions exist now that existed before that 3-month break. David, you're saying leave him alone. These are conversations that need to be had. In the same way that so many of you don't want me to talk about David De Gea, by the way. Has he got the Golden Glove? Is that actually secure? Is that done now? Has he got more clean sheets than anybody else around him? Let's have a look. Stats. Clean sheets. He's got 16. Alisson's got 13. I think that means he's won the Golden Glove, right? Let's have a look here. Pull this up. Clean sheets there. Addison's on 16. There's 3 games left. So I think that means that David De Gea, he's got it. At worst, we don't keep a clean sheet. And one of those other goalkeepers, Arsenal aren't going to keep a clean sheet. Congratulations. I think it's incredible. Do I think that's because... I'm not going to get in debate around David De Gea. JJ, David De Gea making you eat your words. The agenda failed. Should have tried harder on that agenda. I really, really should have. But yeah, the same way that people might not like me speaking about how we're going to have to consider Jadon Sancho. This is Manchester United, man. Like, I agree with so many people that say that the standards have dropped at this club, and they have. And it's not just using that as justification for arguing anything. But David De Gea still needs to leave this football club in the short term and the long term. In an ideal situation, we would replace David De Gea this summer. I don't really think that's going to be done. I'll be honest. But congratulations to him, nevertheless. 16 clean sheets is impressive. Really is. But look, I'm gonna wrap this show up for today. That was a really good show. I really enjoyed that. Thank you everybody for engaging, for making it the best interactive United show out there. Genuinely. Some of you try to troll me every day. Sometimes you get me. Sometimes I nibble. Sometimes I don't. But look, take it easy, everybody. I'll be here tomorrow, as always. I'll bring you the takeover news when there is some. There wasn't really any to talk about today. That's why we focused on Rabiot and Garnacho and the weekend just gone. But I'll be here at lunchtime today. You check out that video, and I'll speak to you soon.